Just a week on from its latest visit to historic Assen, the FIM Sidecar World Championship makes a 14-hour road trip southeast to the Automotodrome Grobnik for the Croatian Grand Prix. Rijeka is the venue for round 5 of the 2019 series, the penultimate race weekend of the campaign. In front of the largest crowd of the season at the Gamma Racing Day, sidecars took centre stage with a visit to the TT Circuit Assen, the only surviving venue from the inaugural 1949 sidecar season. And the modern heavyweights didn't disappoint with a dramatic race that leaves the 2019 series on a knife edge between Reeves and Wilks and Benetton Birchall. In the early stages of the Netherlands, it was Pijverinse and Veravainen who hit the front, the fast-starting Finns capitalising on their rivals coming together around the northern loop and sprinting clear while they fought it out among themselves. The number 44 outfit didn't have the pace to run with the leaders though, and gradually slipped back as Benetton Birchall unleashed their pace in the opening laps, picking off Reeves and Wilks on lap 2 with a forceful turn 11 move, and then steaming past Pijverinse and Veravainen less than a lap later in straightforward fashion. As Reeves and Wilks' tyres came to them, they started to make progress, becoming the second outfit to pass Pijverinse and Veravainen down the Veenslang, and then bridging the gap to the race leaders impressively. The remainder of the race was a game of cat and mouse between the British duos, Reeves and Wilks the leaders from lap 11, and putting in a robust defence to ensure they stayed there. Both outfits were riding on the limit, but Reeves' hard work midway through the race yielded the 25 championship points and therefore a 12-point series lead, the biggest their advantage has been at the top throughout 2019. Three identical podiums in 4 races means the gaps between the lead quartet overall have gradually extended and the medal positions begin to settle. 12 points separate 6 outfits meanwhile in the fight for 6th. After the recent Dutch round, the closest battle inside the top 10 in the World Championship is contested between 2 Dutch outfits. In their first full season of FIM competition together, it's Kies Endeveld and Johan Ramey upholding national pride as the current top team from the Netherlands. We have a great sidecar tradition in the Netherlands. A 3-times world champion in Egbert Strooijer, who's quite well known in our country. His son Benny and I first met in 2007 when his passenger was injured and I jumped on for one race. We raced together until 2012. From 2009 in the World Championship. In the end, I took being a passenger as far as I could. He was far better as a rider than I was as a passenger. I've been around sidecars since I was a child, and our fathers even raced one another. So when Kees decided to stop as a passenger and become a rider, I hopped on. It's been a good partnership so far. I've known Jeroen since we were little. I used to play on his father's bike, and he's the perfect passenger for me, both small and light, which is ideal. For me, the goal is to chase down Benny. The press in the Netherlands makes a lot of our rivalry. Outside of racing, he's a good friend, but on track, he's the one I want to beat. Benny has been a rider for longer, so he's been able to help Kees with tips, which has definitely helped. We're modest about our targets, and we know that at the moment Benny is faster than us on track, but if we get a chance to finish 6th in the world, we definitely hope to take it. So, as this relatively inexperienced duo fights for their world ranking, what are their first impressions of the World Championship in its 600cc era? The step to join the World Championship full-time in 2019 has been a dream come true. We moved on to the 600cc outfit last season and we really enjoyed it. It's a bit different in the corner speeds compared to the 1000cc, and it's particularly good for the passenger, who's much more involved now. It's fantastic to be part of the World Championship, with the title on the line and the history at this level. Every track is special. Here in Rijeka, for example, there's a great tradition. But Assen is unique for us because it's our back garden, and last week was a real pleasure. When I was a little boy, I wanted to be like Egbert Stroyer, and now I've started to chase that dream. The Automotodrome Grobnik opened in 1978 to take over as hosts of the Yugoslavian Motorcycle Grand Prix, with Sidecar making its debut around the circuit 2 years later. This is the 19th season that the World Championship has visited, the Croatian round and ever present on the calendar since 2005. First blood to Ben and Tom Birchall once again in qualifying, an unbroken run of 9 pole position starts, stretching back to Hungary 2018. Reeves and Wilkes, for the 4th time this season, qualified second, 0.6 of a second back on this occasion. But the biggest story of the sessions had been Sam and Adam Christie, recording their first front row grid slot, bettering veterans Päivärinta and Verovainen and Schlosser and Fries. For the first time since the season opener in Le Mans, the Flying Finns would start off the front row of the grid, and with just 0.4 of a second separating 3rd to 5th, an interesting race for the podium places was in prospect. A reduced field of 13 outfits lined up in Croatia, with Rutz and Bosch absent in Rijeka and no one-off entries for this round. Rebs and Weschelberger, though, made a welcome return, qualifying down in 11th. A sizable margin in terms of pace behind the top 8, where the bulk of the championship points would be awarded. One further outfit was missing from the grid in the sprint race. Stroyer and Russo forced to withdraw following a mechanical failure in qualifying, with only 5 hours to the race proving insufficient to make the necessary repairs. We had an electrical problem in Assen last week, but after that race we went to the dyno, tested a lot of things and changed a lot of parts. So clearly the problem is still there and we don't yet know exactly what it is. The race for the podium took on further spice with an unusually slow getaway for Päivärinta and Verovainen. The outside of the grid seemingly not the place to be, as Leglis and Clement also struggled off the line. Wisson and Hoffer passed both outfits in the early stages to move 5th. The Finns, though, trying to recover swiftly, keen to play their part in a 5-way fight for the podium places and not let Sam and Adam Christie escape in 3rd. Sattler and Neubert maintained their 8th position early on and, based on their qualifying pace, would have expected to remain with the pack in front of them. But their race was ended with an engine failure. The German duo, the first of 3 outfits to retire on the opening lap in an unprecedented race of attrition. In the battle at the front, Päivärinta and Verovainen finally started to make progress, cutting down the inside of Wisson and Hoffer at turn 10 for 5th. They were gifted 4th place with a heartbreaking mechanical failure for Sam and Adam Christie. With podium pace in qualifying and a strong start to the sprint race, the Brits will have been devastated with a lap 1 clutch failure. Although they managed to bring the bike back to the pits, they were unable to rejoin the action. Their first non-finish of 2019, costing them valuable ground in the race for 5th in the championship. Peter Kimswenger and new passenger Andrej Kopecki also retired to the pits at the end of the opening lap. Meanwhile, back at the front, Päivärinta and Verovainen's resurgence was complete, with a lap 2 move on Schlosser and Fries to claim 3rd. Turn 10 once again proving their favoured passing place. The Swiss duo tried to fight back into turn 15 as Leglis and Clement used the same stretch of track to get alongside Wisson and Hoffer, making it successfully through for 5th as Päivärinta and Verovainen simultaneously defended 3rd. Less than a second separated all 4 outfits remaining in the battle for the podium places, with 8 laps to go in Rijeka. Ben and Tom Birchall held a strong lead approaching the halfway mark, having broken away slightly with the fastest lap of the race on lap 2. Although Reeves and Wilkes fought back with a personal best on lap 4, it was Ben and Tom Birchall's retirement that ultimately settled the sprint race win. Their first non-scoring race since Hungary 2018 could not have come at a worse time. They already trailed by 12 points, and Reeves and Wilkes were setting sail out in front to bank another 25. With Reeves and Wilkes now 9 seconds clear and able to relax their pace, the focus returned to the race for the podium. Schlosser and Fries getting the better of Päivärinta and Verovainen at the start of lap 6 for second, both outfits having been promoted as a result of the Birchall's retirement. There was disappointment in store for L'Église and Clément, in line for their best ever finish as they retired to the side of the track on lap 7, whilst chasing Päivärinta and Verovainen for a place on the podium. The only remaining duel now was to settle the runner-up position, the Flying Finns putting in a determined recovery to come through down the inside of Schlosser and Fries into turn 15. But even that move was not enough. Schlosser and Fries carving their way back through at the start of lap 8 and holding on for 2 more laps of side-by-side action to claim the 20 championship points, their best result of 2019. For Markus Schlosser, a successful return to the venue where he claimed his first win at World Championship level 3 years ago. Having trailed for the first 4 laps, in the end Reeves and Wilkes claimed arguably the simplest of their 4 race victories in 2019, easing off to a 5-second winning margin. Behind, less than a tenth of a second separated the number 3 and the number 44. Päivärinta and Verovainen making a late bid to recover the runner-up ranking, but needing a few more metres to get the job done. An important victory for Reeves and Wilkes, with their main series rival falling by the wayside, and Päivärinta and Verovainen restricted once again to thirds.
I had to beat him anyway. Yeah.
Despite dropping back late on, Witten and Hoffer put in an excellent ride, less than 5 seconds behind the podium places. But Endeveld and Ramey also put in their best result of the season to maintain their advantage in 6th overall. We were trying to go full gas, but that wasn't enough this time. We'll try to remain positive. A perfect race for us. The points are great for us in the championship. We're really happy. Tomorrow's a new day and we'll see what happens.
I felt quite comfortable we had the pace to win anyway, and he obviously broke down, so we know it's unfortunate for him, but last year we was in that position. We came here with a 51-point lead and broke down twice, and now it's luck seems to have fallen on our side, and we'll take the points. Thank you very much, and we look forward to tomorrow.
Most of the movement in the championship standings after the sprint race was caused by retirements. The gap between 2nd and 3rd reduced to just 2 points, and the fight for 5th overall reopened with 3 races remaining. An impressive performance from Schlosser and Fries, one of only 4 outfits to have made the podium in 2019, and for the first time this season beating Päivärinta and Verovainen. A 4th race victory in 5 for Reeves and Wilkes, meanwhile, left them in the driving seat. Plenty of repair work had been on the overnight agenda, with an astonishing 6 retirements in the sprint race. 3 of those teams were unfortunately forced to withdraw from Sunday's racing, unable to resolve their machinery problems in time, but the rest rejoined the field for the 18-lap gold race. Among that trio of recovering outfits, Sam and Adam Christie, who were sportingly presented a new clutch from Tim Reeves to be able to participate following their lap 1 retirement in the sprint race.
We had a good start yesterday, and then on the 3rd corner the clutch started slipping, and it wasn't rideable. There was no way we could have brought the bike home, so we had to retire, unfortunately. Very disappointing because we had a good qualifying, and we got away with the 2 at the front. Disappointing from the championship point of view, with the DNF losing points. We're still in 5th in the championship, but Case is a lot closer to us now, so we just need to keep finishing now.
Following their first retirement of 2019, meanwhile, Ben and Tom Birchall were left a mammoth 37 points back from series leaders Reeves and Wilkes with only 3 races remaining. The only consolation, memories of the mountain they climbed in 2018 to steal the crown at the final round.
That's the nature of the beast that we're in with racing. It was a real small part that cost us the race win and, took 25 possible points away from the championship. But that's just how it goes. Try and stay positive. There's still 3 races left, and we have good pace, So we'll try again today, and we'll try again in Portugal and see what can happen.
With such a significant advantage in their pockets, Reeves and Wilkes lined up for the gold race, knowing even 3 fourth places would be enough for the title. Reliability, the only challenge that could separate them from the 2019 crown. The lead outfits returned into starting positions based on their qualifying performances, Sam and Adam Christie in particular hoping to capitalise on their front row start. Päivärinta and Verovainen behind were looking for a more customary fast start after their underwhelming getaway in the sprint race. After their season's best result a day before, the gold race got off to the worst possible start for Wissen and Hoffer. The Swiss duo forced to the pit lane with a mechanical problem moments before the warm-up lap. The rest of the outfits were positioned without them. An arduous start to the weekend for several teams, having already reduced the grid to just 10 starters for the gold race. Thankfully, Wissen and Hoffer returned from the pit lane and back into the running, but they were forced to start from the back with their 6th position slot left vacant. Once the lights went out, though, Wissen and Hoffer were the ones to watch as they carved their way through in stunning fashion from 10th to 4th. Schlosser and Fries also made up ground well. Sam and Adam Christie completely missing the start, Päivärinta and Verovainen struggling somewhat to get away, and Reeves and Wilkes squeezed out around the first 2 turns. The number 77 was even forced onto the grass before holding on for 3rd position ahead of Wissen and Hoffer. Known as fast starters, Päivärinta and Verovainen had been unable to find the sweet spot in Rijeka, and their weekend hit a nadir as they were pushed back to 7th by Sattler and Neubert. It didn't take them long to recover 6th position, but just as in the sprint race, losing ground in the early stages was severely reducing their chances of a podium finish. Reeves and Wilkes, meanwhile, wasted no time behind Schlosser and Fries, dispatching them in straightforward fashion into turn 10. The Swiss duo had done well from 5th on the grid to break clear of the rest of the pack, still visibly locked together in the race for 4th position. Now the focus was on Päivärinta and Verovainen, who had looked left and right on the tail of Sam and Adam Christie on lap 1, but had been kept back as the Brits looked for a way past Wissen and Hoffer. The Christies made their move into turn 15 on lap 2, and that was the perfect moment for Päivärinta and Verovainen to strike as well, bravely going 3 abreast and coming out on top for 4th position. Wissen and Hoffer were relegated to 6th place, their fast start undone. Ben and Tom Birchall put in a blisteringly fast start to the race, gaining half a second a lap over Reeves and Wilkes in the first 4 laps. But there was worse to come for the sprint race winners, their machine expiring in a cloud of smoke at the start of lap 5, a likely 20 points lost in their bid for the 2019 title. Having been within touching distance of the crown after the sprint race, a premature end to the gold race leaves Reeves and Wilkes under pressure. The race at the front now settled into a similar rhythm to the sprint race, a pitched battle between Team Schlosser and 44 Racing over seconds, and a separate fight further back for 4th. Having gained incrementally on laps 3 and 4, it appeared only a matter of time until Päivärinta and Verovainen took the fight to the Swiss duo for P2. Having lost 4th position on lap 2, Wissen and Hoffer were coming back into the race as things settled down. And with a new personal best on lap 7, they were able to tuck right onto the tail of Sam and Adam Christie. The Brits were unable to defend against the Gustoil Racing Team's straight-line speed. They responded well in terms of pure pace to stay in contention. Wissen and Hoffer's pace dropped off somewhat on lap 9, and the Christies were well positioned to pounce. So when Wissenhofer went defensive into turn 15 to cover the shortest route round, Brits took the long run on the outside, roaring past their rivals in stunning fashion for fourth. Again, Wissenhofer fought back, picking up 0.3 of a second on lap 13 and setting up another move onto the start-finish straight. Different areas of the circuit clearly favoured different outfits, with Sam and Adam Christie clearly suited to the turn 9 to 13 complex. They would wait for another opportunity on the back straight to recover. Wissenhofer had twice been overtaken into turn 15, once on the inside and once on the outside, so they knew exactly where to defend on the final 4 laps. And they did so bravely on lap 15. Sam and Adam Christie trying to replicate their lap 9 move and finding the way shut. The duos even connecting before Wissenhofer sprinted away. Finally, Sam and Adam Christie knew too much, and on lap 16 they made the move even earlier on the back straight. Wissenhofer remained close to the finish, coming over the line just half a second back in 5th. There was little to choose between Schlosser and Fries and Pijvrinse and Veravainen either. With Ben and Tom Birchall set to gain 9 points on them out in front, the Finns were keen to make the pass for a damage limitation result. But not only were the Swiss duo looking sure of another podium, they were starting to look like potential 2019 medalists. They proved it with a solid ride to the finish. In the race for 6th overall, Endeveld and Reme's hopes took a nosedive with a first retirement of 2019. A bumper haul of points for Wissenhofer in Croatia certainly not helping their cause either. They became the latest outfit to make turn 3 into a bike park, less than a lap from the finish. But there were no such problems for Ben and Tom Birchall. Shades of 2018 with their rivals on the sidelines and their deficit significantly reduced. A third victory of the season, compared to 4 from 8 races for Reeves and Wilkes, means there are still plenty of points to be made up. But this was an ideal outcome from the gold race for them, reducing the amount of work for them to do in Portugal to retain the title. A 4th Croatian Grand Prix victory in 3 seasons for the Birchall brothers, who were all smiles after this lights-to-flag success that reignites the 2019 championship.
Well done. Good race, mate. Well done.
Only 8 finishers in the end, with Reeves and Wilkes retiring on lap 5 and Endeveld and Reme out on lap 18. Entertaining racing nonetheless for both 2nd and 4th positions. Of course, it's important to keep on picking up points for the World Championship, but Schlosser really has come good this weekend, and no matter how hard we pushed, we couldn't get enough. So we're pleased for him to get this podium place, but we hope in Estoril we'll be stronger.
Schlosseri tuli nyt siihen kamppailemaan saavuttaa meitä, että ei siinä ihan hyvä homma, että tulee uusia kavereita sinne kärkeen ja ei se paremmalle hävittiin, ei maha mitään.
The race for us was perfect. Right from the start we found the pace. This weekend is really important for us and we hope this is the direction for the rest of the season.
Vielleicht ein bisschen langweiliger als gestern, aber für uns nicht. Aber ja, das ganze Wochenende für uns perfekt, absolut.
Today all we could do is try and win the race, which we did, and then unfortunately Tim had the problem, which puts it back to a level fight now again for Portugal. So yeah, amazing. Let's go there and see what we can do.
Wissenhofer are the main movers in Croatia, up from 8th to 6th with 24 points banked. But Sam and Adam Christie look more comfortable in 5th after beating the Swiss duo in the gold race. Schlosser and Fries will go to Estoril with an outside chance of chasing down the bronze medal, while Pijvrinse and Veravainen are still only 11 points back from 2nd overall. And just 12 points once again separate the top 2. Honours even in Croatia.